morning and welcome to Saturday Morning Breakfast. My name's Jeff Brown, and this is a program of the First Parish Church of Acton and Stowe. So a few announcements before we begin today. There'll be no breakfast in December. Paul Cello from the Little Leaf Farms in Devons, a hydroponic farmer. We have to reschedule that, hopefully for next breakfast is going to be January 16th, and Rick and Sharon are going to host that one. So if Rick or Sharon, if you want to give yourself a plug for that. I've unmuted Rick.
What it is that we were asked to share our journey of 16 years. When we came to Stowe in 2003, we had, like many of you probably had, about an acre of lawn with we had to mow. So over the course of the 16 years, we changed it into flower gardens and vegetables. And we had a lot of lessons we learned along the way. We had some challenges and successes, and even including changing the way we've gardened so that we're more in tune with nature and can create an environment that increases the biodiversity of plants and animals. And so wanted to share that and share our learnings with everyone. So that's what's going to happen in January.
Okay. Thank you very much. So those of you who have attended a live Saturday morning breakfast, we've always have the question of the day. And today I thought we'd try it. And since we have a number of teachers here, Daniel is a teacher, as Bill, my wife is a teacher. So the question is, who is your favorite teacher? Daniel Fernandez-Davila is next. Maybe you can answer the question first before you start your presentation.
Sure, I will do. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, good. I got two teachers. One was in history in high school. He tends to come and act everything. He said, put books away, and he actually dressed up and came and give us these speeches, how the things happen. So we were mesmerized and just watching how history was unfolded in front of us. And then they make us take notes, and that, brought completely history alive. That was one. But I think the one that got more impact on me was the time that I entered to study anthropology and archaeology at Catholic University. His name is Luis. And he just called me and said, okay, I think I need an assistant this morning. And you're going to do your first class of digging. You're going to do science in the field. And he said, come and meet me at 6 a.m. And then I said, 6 a.m., that's too early for an excavation. So then I went anyway, ready with, my instruments and everything. And he was waiting for me. And he said, I'm ready. I have, everything that I need to take notes, do to the field and start excavating, record everything. It says, leave everything behind, follow me. And we walked for 30 minutes and we went to the house of one person in the middle of the desert, and we had breakfast, and I didn't get it. And then when with the whole family, and it was lovely. And when we went out, he said, archaeology in the past is not about the things that you dig from the field. It's about the people. So you are doing this because you want to recover the past and reconstruct it for the people. So when you do archaeology and ancient history, you are just not dealing with things that are gone. You're just, facing the reality with the people that is alive and the descendants of that. So never forget that. Get to know the local people, then recover the past for them. So I follow him the whole time, in college, and I took a lot of classes with him, but that was a great lesson when I was 18.
Okay, good. Okay, you can start.
Okay, so I just want to say thank you and to everybody for coming. a couple of things quickly that I want to let you know. I didn't know. I knew that Jackie's gonna be here. I knew Jeff before, and then suddenly I'm here, and how small is the world, isn't it? Like Bob is here and Dee are here. I got no idea. I really didn't know. And then, I mean, I turn my head here. I can see Bob's antennas from here. I know where he is. Like everybody can see it in the neighborhood, you know? And I can see Dee with his plants outside going, I mean, I just turn my face and then suddenly I can see it on the screen. And it's, I'm so happy that, you know, like the circle closes and see that you all guys are together and Bob and Dee are part of this group. The next thing, it's like, I'm so happy to see Jackie too. I mean, I just want to let you know to all of you that she's one of the most beloved math teachers in our school. She has so much patience with everybody. I mean, she loves to be close to the kids. And it's really hard because with the small kids during these extraordinary times, teachers are doing an extra sacrifice, really. And it's a joy to go back to school. At the same time, it's scary, but it's kind of like a duty. It's that we have that. It is like that. Isn't it? Zoom cannot replace in screens the face-to-face contact, the view of a student that need your help nor support as a human being. So I'm so happy that, you know, there are teachers here, like probably among all of you, and having Jackie here, being a teacher with me in the same school. So I'm happy for that. So it is a journey for me. It has been a whole journey of life to being where I am right now. And I'm a Peruvian. I was born in Peru in 2002. I mean, excuse me, in 1970. I came to the United States in 2002. I met my wife in Peru. She's a science teacher. She studied bioengineering in Syracuse and then decided that wanted to be closer to the kids with science. So then she studied education and she combined the bioengineering. She became a science teacher and started teaching in Concord for now more than 20 years. So she won a grant, went to Peru, went to do an archaeological excavation, and who is the co-director of that excavation? Myself. So the question always, they said, like, they asked her, like, when you went to Peru, did you find something when you were digging? I said, yeah, I found my husband. So it's just like, so it is funny that things happen in that way, isn't it? So we relocated here in Massachusetts. We have two kids, Mariela and Sean. And she said to me, you know, you're really good. You've been working with people in the mountains, doing a lot of work, research, but also with communities. But you work teaching little kids too in high school, middle school in Peru, and college. Why don't you start? When you try middle school, you are good with kids and what you do. So I tried and I became a teacher here. I was a teacher also in Peru in different levels. And then I love it. I love the connection, you know, with them. But as I was teaching more and more, I began to feel some kind of disconnection between the kids and the real world. And I began to feel that there was a vacuum, there was a gap between the books, the school, the building, what we were teaching, and how the world was unfolding beyond the walls of in my case, Wayland Middle School. And it didn't take me too long, because probably all the experiences that I went through in my life, and I've been always a person of outdoors, of community, of working with people. I spent months in the jungle working with local communities. As an anthropologist, I learned so much from other people, and I've seen so much, and I crave to travel and see, because I feel that we increase our spirit and who we are by getting different and diverse experiences from any place. And I felt that a lot of my kids in the school didn't have it. So I didn't know what to do, really. I'm not a business person. I think one time I tried with a girlfriend, tried to put in a business, and we broke in 2 weeks. So I said, I just like, there's no way I'm gonna be, I can't be a business person. So I said, I don't know how to do this. I think I have to do it with the heart. I have to. So I talked to my wife and said, I need to do something. I said, but I don't know what to do and how to do it. But I think that what I would, and then she said, what would you like to do? And I said, well, I would like other people to feel what I feel for others. I would like other people to understand what is the idea of community by being in a community, to understand that there is suffering, isn't it? To understand, to be compassionate, to have more perspective, like people have given me. And she said, okay, so how are you going to do that? I said, the only way is that these people put rubber boots and walk the mountains alongside with me and suffer and be hungry and thirsty, and then camp in the mud, and then arrive to a community that is very isolated, that is beautiful, and then understand the life of those people. And then they are not poor, but they have faith, they have happiness, they have food, but they don't have education and health. So they struggle with those things. And she said, okay, so why don't you bring one of your students with you to the mountains to hike? And I said, there's no way, they're gonna die. And this is the lawsuit, they sue you country. And then this is not Peru. It's like I'm gonna end in a huge lawsuit. Something bad is gonna happen. They're not gonna survive. And he said, you should have more faith. Why don't you take one? And she said that, why don't you take one in a group of adults just to see what happened? And you have to do your best, and you need to make it work. And then he needs to survive in some way. I said, okay, I'll take one, I said. And then I said, before I'm taking one, I remember in 2005, I'm going to take a group of Americans to see if they can survive. So then I'm going to take a group of adults. So I took my mother-in-law, I took my mother-in-law and says, I said, she's just, let's see if she can survive this one. So I took my mother-in-law and a group of 3 other adults. Her brother went there too. And then they did amazing. They blew up my expectations. They did very well. Altitude was hard, but they did very well. So they encouraged me and said, well, these adults could do it. I think I'm underestimating and being overcautious. So the next year, I remember in 2006, I invited 2 students from Wayland to come with me, surrounded by other adults. And it went fantastic. It went really well. So the terrain in the area that we are facing is far. So to understand a little bit where we are going super quick, I want to show you and share my screen with a couple of shots and videos super quick, because I want to be mindful about the time. But you have to understand where we're going. So I'm going to share my screen. Let's see if I can do that. And then there it goes. I'm going to try to share this super quick. I'm going to show you one of these. There it goes. See if I can share this video. There it goes. So that's one that I want to show you. I want to show you this one super quick too. And I want to show you one more super quick too here so you can have an idea. So as you can see there, this is part of the area that we're going. In order to arrive, nobody goes to these areas. Okay, it's really extremely isolated. Will need to go to Lima, and then from Lima, it's really far areas. Like if I show you where is La Morada here, I'm just going to put one, and then I'm going to show you super quick too. And then let me show you a couple of links here so you have an idea where it is. This, there it goes. So then I'm going to share my screen one more time, super quick, and then I'm going to give you this vision here. There it goes. So this is South America, and then I just put 3 points here. So this is Lima International Airport. And when you arrive here, you have to drive for 12 hours until you get to Chiclayo, isn't it? Which is in the northern part of Peru. We've done it in 1 day, but sometimes takes longer. So we, depending on the conditions on the road, so sometimes we do it in 2 days. But from here, you have to turn to the east. And this is the area where we visit, and I've been helping and working with the communities, isn't it? It's around this area here. And you can see that actually there is almost nothing in that area. It's like, this is the main valley, but this is a really tough terrain. The green spots that change, it's agriculture of people in the high jungle. These are mountain valleys, there it goes. These are mountain valleys in the high jungles of Peru. And in order to reach these places, it might take you sometimes 1 day, sometimes 3 days. But there are villages there, and there are little schools. So my idea started with another woman from Wayland. How can we provide health and education to these villages? And I started by my own, helping them and doing little small campaigns and raising some coins and money to get books for them. But little by little, people get interested, and then ultimately people want to come. And the first trips were so successful that I start actually bringing a group of students every year, like probably no more than, usually I bring 8 or 9 students, and we are guides and we're surrounded by people. And then we start going to these villages, carrying all the supplies to install books and libraries, so the people can read. So it was a kind of like a dual support. They were building everything, like the shelves and the library, and we will bring in probably between 2,000 and 3,000 books. So the teachers actually gave us their list of their needs. We bought all the books in Peru, we collect the money here, and then we loaded all our trucks that you've seen, and we moved them to these villages. So our relationship with the communities changed a lot, and they help us. But one of the unintended consequences is that I thought I was changing the people from the States, which I did. I mean, every time that they came here, they came with their hearts softer, and they see completely the world in a different perspective because everything that they went there. I have so many stories to share, so many. But just I remember walking with them, and after 3 hours walking in the mud, in the jungle there, and one of the persons says, the question is, are we there yet? It always asks, are we there yet? And then they learn quickly that that's the worst question that you can ask me, because I always go in front walking, because I'm going to say, no, we're going to arrive tomorrow, because I'm always going to lie. So I say, are we there yet? No, we have 6 hours more. So it was funny because I was always lying. No, it's like that. the other question that came, so they stopped asking me because I never tell them when we're going to arrive, isn't it? I never tell them when we're going to arrive. The other question classic that I was like having fun with the students that I brought from Whelan, it's like, Mr. Fernandez, when are we going to stop for lunch? It's like, you know, I'm walking with guides, local guides with their rubber boots. They don't carry water. They carry backpacks of 20 kilos. They don't say anything. They're walking alone. Sometimes we're riding horses. And after 4 hours hiking, say, when are we going to stop for lunch? Or somebody said, I'm thirsty. I ran out of my water. So then I remember that because I said, I only said, I remember, you know, are you hungry? And it says, yeah, I'm hungry, says this student. And I said, me too, keep walking. And it's like, so say, I'm hungry too, so I'm not gonna die, keep walking, nothing is gonna happen to you. So then I said, oh shoot, and then I kept walking and they realized that after 2-3 hours, we will stop eventually and we'll have our time. But you have to stop annoying me with, I'm hungry, I'm thirsty, I'm tired. You got to stop it because I'm hungry too. I'm tired, but I have to keep walking because if the locals can walk and reach their villages and they are not complaining, you can do it too. So then, and it was a great lesson. And like those type of lessons were emerging and happening all over the place, isn't it? So the kids were learning to put things in perspective, you know. The other thing that happened is that I thought that I was training them, but actually I was training, and I only realized that later. I was doing symmetrical actually training, and then they were learning one from each other. Like the locals also were learning for them. Before the Americans arrived to this far away, you could see that one of the locals ate a cookie and threw the wrap of the cookie because they didn't pay too much attention about the environment sometimes. And then it says, well, somebody will pick it up. And the students went and pick up the wrap of the cookie and say, no trash in these areas. This is so beautiful. Or we need to recycle this. And the locals who were working with me, they realized, they are giving us an example. They might be 15, 14 years old, but they are teaching us that this is valuable too. And also, the locals start going closer to the Americans and says, can you teach me English? So they sat down and they start sharing these beautiful moments together. And instead of me, you know, like training just the American kids, I actually opened the hearts also to the locals, to a new culture. So I didn't plan it in that way, but organically it started happening. And it was very nice. So one of the things that we're doing right now, we created an organization which is called Loose Change, and we collect pennies in Wayland 1 week. And it's in February, usually in March. And with all these pennies, we actually put it in an account, and then we wire the money to Peru, and we buy books for all these teachers, isn't it? Let me show you a couple of images super quick, how the people look like, how the schools are, and what we've done. And then I'm gonna close it, and I'm gonna give time for some questions for you about what we do in these really remote villages in Peru. I arrived there, actually, before putting that photo, I arrived my first time there in 1998. I was sent to do a scouting of an archaeological place. And in 1999, I returned to that area because it was so beautiful. And in 2000, the year that I met my wife, I spent 3 months in the jungle with them, working in the communities, and they taught me how to basically survive there in the jungle with them. I suffer a lot, but I learned a lot too, and I'm here. So that was a good training by them, you know. And then since then, I've been coming back to the same area for the last now 22 years. So I know people for almost everybody in those villages. I know everyone there. And there is so much still work to do all over the place. So let me show you some pictures and share so you have a little bit of idea. I just want to show some of my screen here. Let me see if I can, let me see if I can just share. And it's just going to do a round of photographs. So because I had so many, it was very difficult to choose which ones to show you. But I'm gonna see if I can share some of these screens here. 1 second. There it goes. Let me show you this one here. This is one from where we are. There it goes. I gotta pull them and show it to you here. Share screen. There it goes. This is one. I'm gonna try to do that constantly. So this is one that let me see if I can pull it. Plus. So this is one photo that I want to show you, but this is walking into the area, isn't it? It's every photo has a story. That's a powerful photo. I not even knew that somebody took it. People in my expedition. So I'm sitting, and then I have my radio there, and the path goes up, and it rained for 2 days. So the person who is standing, who is my friend Nico, who is filming a lot, he's saying like, why we are not moving? And then I sat down because I was exhausted, and he said, we gotta keep moving, it's raining. And I said, you have to relax. I was talking to him, why don't you sit down and enjoy the jungle? Because we're not moving from here. I said, it's like, and then what do you mean? I mean that ahead of us, there is a huge river that we got to cross. And I sent one scout right now who is in contact with me with radio. He's running ahead at 12,000 feet. And he's giving me a report if the river wash away or not, because I'm not going to risk everybody. So why don't you sit down, get a chocolate for me, and we wait here and have patience. Don't be impatient. And then it was a moment from that photo, but you can see our boots and everything, and it's a funny moment, and the other people it's talking, constantly. I'm going to show you one more here with people in the villages. This is a beautiful photo that I want to show you there. Let me see, super quick. This one here. This is one of the villages that we found. There you go. I want to show you this one. This is in one of the villages. There you go. Okay, so this is the school band of the school. Let me get one more time. This one here, this one, there you go. Can you see it now? Good. Yeah, that's the school band. The teacher is on the left. Nobody pays that teacher. He's a music teacher. He walks every day 5 hours to reach that village in the mountains. And he bought all those instruments with his own money. So he does some work, and he said he loves music. His guitar is missing 2 chords, and they got all that. And you can see the faces of the kids. He goes there and does this program after school for free, and they play for us. It was amazing. I mean, the happiness of the kids, it was absolutely amazing. But the antaras or zampoñas, that's the pen pipes that they are holding. I mean, they are like really so old that they have holes. They put masking tape to stop them. I mean, they have these maracas, which the kid is holding. I mean, they form a band, isn't it? He said, how much did it cost? And he said, I put like 400 soles, which is $150. And then these instruments are the only ones that they have. And he, for example, this was last year when we reached one of the villages. And for example, he asked me, says, Daniel, if you can, and I think we're going to try to do this if we have the funds, for example, can I give you a list? We need 1 extra guitar, some chords, and then if you can replace our instruments. And I promised to the teacher, his name is Mario, says, we're going to try to raise funds this year. I think we can do it with loose change. And I promise if I go, and then it was this year, 2020, so we couldn't go. I'll bring a whole new set of instruments in. Your kids will have a new whole set of band. We'll walk there. Of course, to walk to that village, you have to go 1.5 days by horse and cart, isn't it? So this is other of the villages. And sometimes we also help individual people. This is one special case that I found a long time ago. His name is Dilmer. I want to show you. This is a small stories, because among the community stories and the community help, when you go to these places, you find hundreds of single spectacular, like challenging personal stories. And you don't know, sometimes it's hard because you want to help everybody and you can't. And you don't know, you don't know who you should pick. So it's really hard because they're all displaced in front of you and they're happy, but they have these immense needs. And then suddenly we come here and it is hard to get the car and drive around here and go to places and see everything that we have and then go to Peru, to these villages and find people who have nothing but give everything. So one particular story is the story of Dilmer. This kid is paraplegic. I found Dilmer when we went to a town that it's called Chumbol. It took us 1.5 days to arrive there. But when we were delivering all the supplies in these villages, Dilmer was sitting, this is a recent photo, but Dilmer was sitting there in a wheelchair. And his wheelchair was made out of bicycle parts. And his grandma was there. So I asked, what is happening with him? And she said, we don't know. He was born like that. Did you take him to the hospitals? No, he's just that. But he's smart. He can do some math and he moves one of his hands. But he's kind of sad all the time because he cannot play soccer and be with his friends. But we made this wheelchair for him. So I get to know Dilmer and we talk and he never smiles and says, and I remember that happened like 5 years ago. And since then, I remember Dilmer all this time, and I was trying to be in contact with the village because they have a small radio, they have a small radio antenna there. So I was asking always about Dilmer. It became kind of personal. So then out of the blue, I don't know why, I think, okay, so I think the time is coming that we're going to return to Chumbol. So we tried to go to different villages. And then I said, well, if I'm going to return to Chumbol, I'm going to see Dilmer again. So I think I need to bring him a wheelchair, a brand new titanium that he can transport and it can last forever because probably the wheelchair that he has made of bicycle parts is falling apart. So I contact a friend of mine, doctor from Harvard University, and says, you know what, if you pull a group of friends, I found this wheelchair, $900. If everybody pulls a little bit, I'm going to pitch. We can bring I don't know how, but we'll bring a wheelchair to this village. And then 3 days after, I found an envelope in my mailbox, and it was this doctor. He said, we don't need to pitch money. Go and buy the wheelchair for Dilmer. And it was a check for $900 from the doctor. So he said, buy the wheelchair to him. And then when you get him, send me a photo, I want to see it. I said, okay. So I bought the wheelchair, huge, arrived with the mailbox, here, we tested, we put it together, and I brought it to the airport. And I got no idea how we're going to transport that, but brought it. First, I said, well, I got to bring more money because taxes. So then when I was in the counter, I said, okay, so we're going to pay this. How much I have to pay for taxes? Well, you got to pay these, and it's an extra bag, so it's $250. And another person pushed the other person, like the manager from the counter. I think it was JetBlue. And then he pushed it and said, no, I'll take care of this. And he said, you don't have to pay anything. And I said, what do you mean you don't have to? Is that a wheelchair? Yeah. Are you bringing it to Peru to somebody who needs it? Yes. You can put it there. You don't pay any extra money. My sister is in a wheelchair too. So probably that wheelchair is going to somebody who needs it. So go ahead and pass. So then I passed the wheelchair. Then I arrived to Peru and I have to deal with the corrupt police and customs. And then I said, okay, I got my money. I have to pay the bribe to pass things. So that's a classic. So then I got this extra, and then comes the first officer. What is that? That's a wheelchair. A wheelchair, I don't know, open it. We got to check and we got to put the taxes in it. I said, okay. So I'm ready for that. And then another officer comes and then with a major rank and says, what is that, sir? It says, it's a wheelchair. It's like, where are you bringing it? We work in Chachapoyas in the mountains. So like, okay, so who is gonna own that chair? It's a kid who is paraplegic in the mountains. And it says, okay, and it says, put the box back, let this guy pass. And he said, you don't have to worry about everything, you know. My daughter, actually, you know, she's also paraplegic. And then, so I start, and I said, what? So now is the second person who opens me the door out of the blue to pass this wheelchair. Like the wheelchair is passing by. And then the things are keep opening. And I didn't know. I said, I remember my wife said, how the heck are you going to move a wheelchair to Chumbo? I said, I don't know, honey, but I have to do this. I don't know, but I have to do it. And then the things keep moving in the wheelchair. Now we put the wheelchair in the place, and then we ended moving it. And then we arrive, the wheelchair arrives. And let me show you one thing and then we're going to kind of finish with this personal story, but it's the first time that we were in the village, and I promised 5 years ago to Dilmer that I'm gonna do something that's gonna make him smile, because they said that in the village, they said he never smiled. Nobody can make him smile in this village. And then I said, I will. I have to do something to make him smile at least one more time, and I have to be there to see how he smiles. And then it's like, I'm going to do it. I don't know, but that's what it is. So what I did is I won. I made him smile. I won. So when I put him in his wheelchair, you know, I said, Dilmer, I brought you a Ferrari. He got no idea what is a Ferrari. So then I said, Dilmer, I brought you a Ferrari. And he didn't know. And then we opened the box. And then we took him, and the grandma moved him from the crappy, you know, like bicycle parts wheelchair to this titanium foldable, amazing wheelchair. And we put him there, and the village was there, and everybody was clapping. You can imagine, I was crying. And then I went to him and I called his arm and I said, Dilmer, how does it feel to be in this racing car? And he just gave me this huge smile that I always carry with me. And somebody snapped that photo, isn't it? So what I want to finish this telling you is that among all the archaeological work and the scientific work and all the work that I've been doing in the villages, my main goal actually has been connecting with the communities, connecting the people of United States with them, both together, open their hearts of more people, believe that, yes, we can make a difference, even if it's a small, if we are all together. And there is so much we can do, you know. And also the idea of having faith in something. Events happened this year, and then Bob and Dee know, Jackie knows a little bit, that there was some events this year that actually were like really scary. My daughter suffered an AVM stroke in the brain. She's 16 and almost died in my arms. And she just recovered miraculously. I mean, truly. And I remember the people from Chachapoya saying, why, it was funny because the emails from them, the radio says, why God is doing that to you if you do so much good to others? Why God is letting your daughter almost die in your hands after you do so much for others and you never ask anything in retribution, you know, back? And then you that's not fair. I remember a lot of them saying from the villages, you know. And I replied, don't say that. I said, I don't think so, because I was calm during the whole time. I think, I believe always that my daughter is going to be always with me, even in heaven or with me here. But I felt it always as the ultimate test. So that's what I felt it. And I'm going to be strong enough to hold my family and everybody together and believe that she will be ultimately okay wherever she is. And that's what I did. I never questioned that. I never bitch. I never say, why, damn it, happened this to me. I never said that. I never said it. I said, and then when things turned good, and I said, I have recovered my faith. I have actually empowered my faith more. And it says, not, and my answer is, I don't want to go more to Peru. I want to spend with my daughter all the time because maybe she can die in any moment. That wasn't my answer. My answer was, now I want to go further. Now I want to go to the places that actually I thought I never going to go. Now I want to try to help people that are even more isolated, because I feel that my faith has been like being empowered by everything that I've been given, the life of my daughter back. So, and this happened just 3 months ago, isn't it? So I want to leave you just with my personal experience, which is we all have struggles in life. We all have difficult moments in life. We all pass through tough things that I not even can imagine what some of you maybe have gone through. There are internal battles, internal problems, sadnesses and happiness, but I think there is a kindle, and there's the kindle of faith. Whatever you have, if you have faith and you don't let that little flame, vanish, and still it's always with you, no matter where it goes, it will always bring you to a peaceful place. And if you find other people who have the same strong faith in what you believe and you want to do in life, and that's what I discovered, that you will find your purpose in life. And that's what I found. I found that my purpose in life is pushing myself beyond, connecting people, and helping others as much as I can. Thank you so much. I just thank you for sharing.
Thank you, Daniel. That was great. Yeah. So if you have a question for Daniel, you can unmute yourself and go ahead and ask it.
Okay, starting with the scary one. All those ways in the mountains are always two ways. The reason why they don't put guardrails, because it doesn't matter. You're gonna die anyway. So it's just that there's no point. I mean, it's a 6,000 feet drop. That's the Marañón Canyon, and you gotta cross it it takes 4 hours going down to the bottom of the canyon and 4.5 going up. When we do that, actually, I always drive the car in front, because I know the roads very well, and the rest of the car, I always ride the horses in front. I always hike in front. I always drive the truck that goes in front. If somebody needs to receive, I am going to want the first one who's going to get it. And then I have more experience too. So that's what my horse always falls. I fall into holes. I do, but it's like one of the locals said something funny that I always remember. Daniel, you're like Jesus Christ. You're suffering for us. It's like, and I say, yes, but without the nails. Like, it's just now with horses, with boots and all. Yeah, it's true. It's like I always go in front. So it's a two-way. We go slow, very slow. We know the road. It looks small, yeah, but there are so many stories around there, but you got to be careful and know your road. That's it. Believe me or not, Jonathan, driving in the night, it's better than driving in the day. You know why?
Can't see this.
No, driving in the night, because first, I can see clearly everything because our trucks has tons of spotlights. So there is no way that I'm going to miss the road. And there are reflectors. So the night is good. The night is good because I can see far away where the cars are coming against me because they're lights. So I'm never going to crash. In the day, I can do a turn and there is a bus of 30 people and I don't know there is a bus. So that's what sometimes in the night is better. Second, I grew up in the city of Lima. Lima, it's a cement, huge jungle. It's basically, I grew up in a street. My house was concrete because we got tons of earthquakes there, small, packed. I used to play soccer in the street with 2 cans of Coke. Our goalies were a string that I tie between the electrical post and my house. So the goalie stands up there because we don't have soccer fields. There was a lot of drug dealing in the area that I grew up and drinking, and there were a lot of violence, and I lived through terrorism and Shining Path. But my family was strong. I help other people in my neighborhood. We got a good group of friends who were always clean and all helping other people. My dad was a doctor, a cardiology surgeon in the Air Force for 35 years. My mom is a librarian, so they also all the time were helping people in the neighborhood. But it was a concrete jungle. That's what I grew up. You know, I got robbed more than 4 or 5 times. One time I needed to walk back from my school to my house, which is actually an hour walking, not taking the bus, barefoot, because they robbed me in the street and said, "Give me your shoes," and I gotta give my shoes because they put a screwdriver in your belt and said, "Give me your shoes, give me your backpack," and there's nothing I can do. You know, I was 10 years old. So it was, and we survived, and we get strong, and we help people. But it was a concrete jungle. So I remember coming here when I started living more in Massachusetts, and I needed to tell my wife several times. We were going through the streets and said, "Stop," and then she said, "We need to stop stopping because you're making me stop a lot." It's because this is so beautiful. I wasn't stopping every time that I saw grass and people playing soccer. I was like, wow, they have fields. That's so cool. It was like, they have fields. Everything is so beautiful around here. Wow, it was like, you know, and then I didn't want to go outside to my house. I didn't. And says, "Let's walk outside." And I was walking, and I was always bringing my machete. My wife said, "You have to leave the machete. Nobody's going to do anything with you." It's like I was carrying my machete with me. It's like, nobody's going to do anything to you. And the first year, I was like turning because I thought, and then I calmed down. Still right now, because we lived through terrorism, and my house was close to the hospital, the military hospital, the hospital. So when there were injuries, there were a lot of helicopters coming. So in the night, sometimes when I hear no planes, so when Bob passes by with his plane, I'm happy because I love planes. But when I hear a helicopter, I wake up in the night. I'm just like kind of nervous a little bit still. But that was it. That was the area where I grew up.
So do you think you're planning on going back as soon as you can?
Yes. As soon as, you know, things get better, more and more people want to come, and then I have to select. And then next year, definitely, I mean, I cannot stop. I will go back, even if I have to, you know, use 2 canes and put it in the mud until I cannot go more. I will go back every possible year that I can until I can't.
Yeah. Wow. That's quite a story. Any other questions before we wrap up? Well, thank you very much, Daniel. That was a great presentation, and take care. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for being here. Thank you, all of you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.